Yeah, so I don't know, in my childhood, in my school days, I might have read somewhere or somebody might have told me, but I had this in the back of my mind that I wanted to be an IAS officer even before knowing what it is. That's how our childhood dreams play out. We don't know exactly what is it, but we think we're going to do that. But it was in my college when I came and I thought about it more, and I realized that a job of an engineer, I was doing chemical engineering, so a job of an engineer would not be very satisfying for all my career and life. So I thought that I need to go into something where I could be contributing to the society, and then since I had this, the only thing that I could do was study, have knowledge. Other things, I rejected the other options like going into the politics or working with an NGO or something like that. I thought that this is something where I can reach on the ability of my studies and knowledge, and that's why I finally zeroed in on giving the exam. Yes. So when I joined college, in the second year of my college, when I started to know more about my own subjects and I got to know more about campus placements and house life, corporate, and this and that, that's when in the second year of my college, that's when I decided that no, I have to go into the field of civil service, and this is something that I'm going to do. And I finally got myself determined that yes, this is it. It was quite tough. There were a lot of issues. I'll just open up on what kind of issues I faced. So when I first decided that I have to give this exam, the thing was that there was no guidance available at my home. So you're like venturing into something where nobody in your family has ever sat the exam, and that's completely new. That was one thing. Second was that I have to manage college as well. But then I somehow did it. I gave extra time. I used to come back from college and then again just give myself 1 hour to freshen up, and then again sat for studying for UPSC. So those days were very tough when I used to have to attend entire college from morning 9 to evening 5, come back and study again for 4 to 5 hours. But I think it was those years that have really allowed me to crack the exam in my first attempt. And I really thank the Srushti of second, third year of college who worked very hard. And now when I look back, I'm like, how did I do it? But then there was some zeal, there was some kind of determination, which allowed me. And yes, another thing was not just determination, proper planning. I used to chalk out the plan really well. Whenever I found that, I now have my college exams. So 1 month before, I used to chalk out a plan how I would be studying college subjects so that they don't take a hit during my UPSC preparation. So proper planning and management. So when you mention it, I'm reminded of that one diagram. I guess you might have all seen. There's this mountain that we make and water going up. So from the top, you can just see the success, the good things, and good things that happen. But bottom of the water, there's so many of there are sleepless nights. There are nights where you cry. There are times when you feel you won't be able to do it. There are people who tell you that you're too young to do this. There are people who tell you that you shouldn't be taking this seriously. So I went through all of that, and it was tough to manage the time. It was tough emotionally for me because I was seeing some of my friends going out, having fun, doing what they wanted to. But here I was studying, and because I myself was telling myself that my parents put me no pressure. They said, you can manage on your own. But it was me myself who was putting myself in that position. So it was tough that way. Managing time was tough. Keeping away from all the outings and weekends and birthday parties was tough. Then not going to and in India, of course, I guess you know that we have this thing that if any cousin's marriage is there, you have to be there and you can't miss it. So there's this family pressure, that you have to be there, and then you'll convince them that sorry, I won't be coming because of my exam. So a lot of things have gone into it, and but at the end of the day, I now feel that whatever I missed out on, I have paid that price, but the result is worth it. I'll just add on one thing. What I also learned from this is that anything which you want from your life, anything that you want to happen, you will have to pay the price. So don't just want something, be ready to pay the price. And if you're ready to pay the price, I'll tell you, goddamn, nothing can actually stop you if you're willing to pay the price. I had so many incidences where I used to fight with my mom. Mama, I don't want to come, and she'd be like, "Ek din mein kya ho jayega?" You know, to say that what will happen in a single day. And but for me, you know, I always used to tell her this, that for you, it'll be just me spending like 2 hours with that person or in that place. But what happens with our minds is, if we go out for 2 hours, and so we have that cassette playing in our mind before it. We have that cassette playing in our mind when we come back, or maybe till 1 week. It keeps on lingering in your mind. So I wanted to keep myself away from all those distractions. And so how, you know, I maneuvered through a lot of fights at my home and with friends. I was lucky enough to have some very close friends which were very few in number, just 2, 3, 4. And despite all the quarrels, my mother was there, my father was there. I have a little young brother who is in 8th grade now. He's like 10 years younger than me. So he was a child, and you know, he's there encouraging me, motivating me. Used to be there. My grandma's there at home. My grandpa was also there during those times. So I would say the family was there, and a couple of friends was there. So another takeaway that I learned from this entire journey was that you can't just cut off yourself from the entire thing. You need to have some close people who confide into your feelings. You need some of the people who will be there no matter what. Yes, it happened so that I used to share with them towards the later part that, you know, I'm into something like this. So good enough, they used to share with me some notes which I might have missed, or some things that I might have missed. So that way they really helped me out in my preparation for the college subjects. But yes, I had a couple of those feelings where I felt that I'm not going out, I'm not moving with them, I'm not spending that amount of time with them. But you know, back in my mind, I knew that the priority, you know, it's more about prioritizing, and somewhere I had prioritized in my mind that for me at this point, this exam is something which is the most important thing, and so I sailed through it. But yes, I had my lows as well. I never used to see my results. So in that series, he saw that result. He called me up. He was all crying, and then I opened it and I checked it like thrice, 4 times, 5 times. That it's my name and it's that number against that number. So yeah, it was out of the world for me. I shouted and I went to my mom. I called my father, and it was like an amazing. It's like a moment which I won't be able to ever forget in my life. You know what happens is, after the interview you stop studying because you don't feel like studying for the next year, and you're like you don't know if you'll be through this year. So I had stopped studying for the past for the 1.5 months before my result. But then yes, I was very relieved, and I felt that the kind of efforts that I had put into it had paid off. So it was a feeling of relief. No, my anxiety levels had shot up as and when April was coming, and I tried to keep my cool, tried to go out, tried to pretend that nothing was happening, but it was pretty much all in one. You know, over the course of time, when I saw and met people during my preparation who had given the exam for like twice, thrice, and who were trying but not able to get through, I don't know, I had this some fear kind of a thing that I cannot sit through it the second time or third time. If at all I have to do it, I do it in once. So it's more about giving my 100-200% in the very first go. It is more about not losing out on any detail in the first go. And the kind of zeal that we have, the enthusiasm that we can put in the first thing when we're doing something, I guess that's the highest level. So I don't know, it was my personal thing that I thought that I'll just go for it once. when I started, since I had taken admission to engineering, my natural backup plan would have been working as a chemical engineer somewhere. But during the course of my preparation, or when I got more into it, and I got a hang of what my life will be and what I really want to do all my life, like working with people and everything, then I thought that I don't have to work on any alternative. I did not sit in any campus placements. I did not sit for any interviews. And so I basically went to a place where either I'll make to this exam or I'll join some NGO and start working with people. So I had just gotten that in my mind. No, I didn't used to be rank 1. No, never. I missed out on that. But yes, I used to be somewhere around top 5, somewhere there. I was in a lot of co-curricular activities. I used to play, I used to sing in my school choir, and then a lot of things, whatever came my way. I did karate when I was young. I junior green belt. Then there's this thing called NCC, National Cadet Corps in India, which is like a uniformed this thing for young students of the school and college. I was sergeant in the NCC. Yes, and so pretty much I tried on everything. I tried my hands on everything that I did on public speaking and all of this. So yeah. Yeah, so basically it was like that after my results came out, and since from my city I was I was a woman, and having got a good rank, it was sort of very much celebrated in my city. So the government called me up and they asked me to become this SVEEP icon. This is basically voter encouragement. And so I met so many people. I went to colleges and I went to other universities where I met students and asked them to really go there and vote, exercise their important piece of right in a democracy. And I guess that I was able to connect with the students, and they were able to connect because they saw that this is a young woman, so something like us. And if she's telling us, probably yes, this is something that we need to be doing. So that way, I enjoyed it. So basically, it's more about the person themselves coming up to vote, the person themselves exercising their right to choosing their leaders. And we haven't made it mandatory for different kind of reasons. I'll not go into that, but as far as encouraging people to come and vote is, I guess a lot of places there is this kind of thing that even if we vote, we do not get to see the things on ground, and there's some kind of skepticism that people carry. But this is not so with young voters, positively at this point in the country, and that I found really interesting. In my own city, when I went out, people were enthusiastic. The students and the youngsters were there, and they were like, yes, okay, fine, we need to exercise this right, because that's how we elect our leaders, that's how we can play our role in policy making at the higher level. So there was a general level of enthusiasm. But as you're saying, the people who are left out, who don't come to vote, nothing much happens. But what we do is that we can take out the list, and next time when the voting happens, next time when there is an election, we could specifically target those people and encourage them again to come and vote. Yeah, I'll share with you two aspects of it. First thing is that, when you enter that place, you're adulated back at your home. But when you go there, there are people like you. I mean, they have been adulated back home, but now what? I mean, you're all equals, you're all IAS officers, you're all IPS officers. And the environment there is such that we have our teachers who are IAS officers themselves. So they make us feel, or they actually bring us down on the ground, that hey, it's okay that you practice exam, but now it's the time that you need to be trained for what you have really written this exam for. So you're meeting people who are toppers on their own, but now you start seeing them as persons with extremely different personalities, with different traits, qualities, have their own talents, and not just studying. Somebody does photography, somebody loves singing, some play piano. So you start seeing people for what they are beyond this exam. That's very interesting. Second aspect which I'll tell you is that every person has a story of their own, and a story of struggle, a story of dedication, a story of how they came through. I'll share the story of two women. One is from Maharashtra. Now, she's Archana, and she has cracked this exam when she is like around 32 years of age. She has a little baby who is about like 5 years old. So, and she prepared for this exam away from home, away from her family, away from her daughter. And so this story motivated us so much that, you know, somebody could give that much for this exam, for the society, for being able to be in a position to do something. We were really motivated. Secondly, I'll tell you the story of Rehana. She's from Kashmir, and Kashmir is a place which is very beautiful, but she was there as a doctor. She was studying, but she had very less resources. Internet was an issue, but she still studied, and she got through. She was the first person from the entire state, Jammu and Kashmir, as it was then, to crack the exam with such a good rank. So you come to know people's stories. You come to know about what they are as persons, and it's amazing to know. Classes from Monday to Friday, and classes from about pretty much 10 o'clock in the morning to around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the evening. And then we are free to pursue whatever we want to, our activities. We have sports complex, we have music rooms, we have theatre, a lot of things, activities that we can pursue. It is very much interactive. We are encouraged to ask questions. We are encouraged to be free about, feel free to ask. And there are people from different backgrounds who've come there. Some who have put up like 25 years of their life in service. Some who have not been in service, who've been in some NGO, but are working for the society. We get to interact with a lot of people, and that opens up our mind. And we slowly start getting a hang of the system. How does it work? We are taught law of the country, the Criminal Procedure Code, the Indian Penal Code. We are taught how to conduct, how to write orders that way. So it's a well-rounded training. Basically, pretty much first, every Saturday we have this treks, Himalayan trek. Because we're living in the Himalayas, there are so many treks we could do. Every Saturday we used to take a trek about 10-20 kilometers. And we used to get tired, but now when I look back, I felt that was like really good views. I could see trekking. That was the first time I was exposed to trekking in my life. It was amazing. After that, we were taken to a trip called the Winter Study Tour, which is called colloquially Bharat Darshan. And I went to Kashmir. I went to then I straightway went to Goa, Lakshadweep Islands, Karnataka I explored, and Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So we have different routes in the country. We basically covered around 8 to 10 states, and we are divided into 10 groups of people each, 18 people each. So I got that chance. Another thing is that we have a Himalayan trek of 10 days proper. I went to Himachal Pradesh, to Chandranahan Lake, and there it's like you don't have any facilities in the hills. You got to live in the tents. There could be snow coming up anytime. And it's very chilly, very cold, but really amazing. It's really a dream come true when you see that assistant collector under training behind your name, when you see the 3 letters of the IAS behind your name. It's definitely a dream come true. But what gives me more pleasure is that when I go to the field, when I talk to people, when I see how we live, when I talk to them about their problems, their issues, and then I know that one phone call, one thing, some little effort from my side could bring a change in their lives. That I love the most about this job. And I guess that the more time I spend, I'll be able to do that. Yeah, sure. So my district Dindori is in like the southeast end of Madhya Pradesh. It borders Chhattisgarh state as well. This is a district in which 64% of the population is scheduled tribes. That means there are tribes ranging from Baigas to Gond and Agaria. These are the 3 prominent tribes that we have. And one of them, the Baiga, is a primitive tribal group. That means they are the oldest settling people in the central Indian territory. So it's almost like, seeing human evolution in its own ways. The people live there, they have their own way of living. And it's really amazing to see how they continue to carry on their culture and live. So apart from that, we have a lot of vegetation here. There's a place called Amarkantak, from which the Narmada river originates. So a lot of forest and nice natural views. Yes, I'm staying in my government rest house, and I almost every day, pretty much about 4 days in a week, I'm on field. I take around 2 hours trip to go to the peripheries of the district, go into the interior forest villages, and that I really like. So I take this trip. Is that right now I'm on probation, I don't have any independent charge. Getting an independent charge means that you will be posted as CEO of a block, or you will be posted as a tehsildar, which is a revenue officer, or you will be posted as an SDM, a subdivisional magistrate. Now these are independent charges. When I get independent charges, I'll have to sign files, I will have to work through assignments myself. Right now, I don't have an independent charge. It's pretty much like I can explore on my own what I want to. But still, I set out around at 9 o'clock in the morning. Before that, I go for a walk at around 7:30 for a morning walk. Literally freshens me up. And after office at 9, I do some assignments in the collectorate office. And in the second half after lunch, I go for a field trip. If I've gone far, it might take around 7:30 or 8 to come back. Otherwise, I'm home by 6. Also, I would be given independent charges. So maybe about like 2-3 months down the line, I might be posted as CEO of a block, which is a subordinate post to what I will be getting after probation. But the learning part is that if you learn the roots of it, if you learn the base, you will be, and from the bottom up, then you will be able to monitor the work when you are there at the apex position. So that's the whole idea, and that's why I'll be given independent charges of the subordinate positions. I'll walk you through to one instance. When I came here after a week, we have this COVID situation. So it was around 10 at night, and my subdivision magistrate, sir, he called me up and he said that, Srushti, we have a case right now. We have detected COVID case has come positive, and I want you to come with me and see for yourself how do we go about by the standard operating procedure. So I had all settled up with my thing, and I was about to really doze off early that night, but then I got a call, and so at night I was out. We went there. We somehow got to find that this person had come from a different district. He was traveling. He had gone home, and then he had come to the quarantine center. Those were the initial days. So there was a kind of issue of mismanagement and how to go about by this. So then found out that he had gone home. So and his home was like 50 kilometers away. So we traveled all the way at night to his home. We got all of his family members from there in an ambulance. We got them quarantined in a different center at the headquarters. That night I came home around 1:30 or 2. So this is the job of the person who is in charge. If something happens and the leadership is demanded, you will have to be on the field. So the unpredictability of the job is that you don't know where we posted. You don't know how that place will be. Every place has its own challenges, has its own things that it has to offer to you. So I think the job is more about adapting yourself into situations, being able to provide leadership where people won't even know you. And if you are posted in a district and none of your subordinates know you initially, and it is a time of a disaster, suppose there's this COVID going on, you are posted in a district and you have to manage it. And so you have to do it. I mean, you have to make sure, you have to pull your strings, find out how things work out, talk to people, interact with them. It's more about man management and about providing leadership. And but I guess that's the charm of the job. So yeah. It first instance, it's really exciting to see that the kind of impact that your actions can have. And then you realize that if you are working in a positive direction, you can really bring change into the lives of so many people. And you start taking inspiration from little things that happen. I'll just narrate one incident here, just to make sure I connect with you what I'm talking about. I was coming back from a field trip, and I happened to stop in a community health center. Now, it's called a CHC, it's a public health center, but at the block level. I just happened to stop by. I was talking to the doctor. I was checking on the COVID patients. And are there any patients? Are there any suspects? Like that. And he was telling me about the infant mortality there. That the children under 5 years of age are dying right after birth. That comes in under infant mortality. And he told me that it's sort of high in that area. And when I found out more that there was one lady at the hospital who had given birth 3 days ago. She had given birth to two twins, two babies, and who were underweight. And so the doctor was recommending them to go to the district hospital, the headquarters, which was around 50-60 kilometers away. But the lady was refusing. She was saying that I am not going to take my kids, and I don't want to go. I'll go back home, no matter what happens. I was a little bit surprised, and I asked the doctor if I could talk to that lady. That evening, I spent around half an hour to 45 minutes convincing that lady that you have to be for your kids and you should be going. What I found out was that she was afraid. She was scared of going to a city, going to a new place. She was like, I've never been to that place. How will I be able to manage alone and everything? So I talked to the nurse there at the hospital. I made sure that all arrangements will be made for her and her babies will be taken care of. And finally, she agreed. I went yesterday to check on her. So both of her babies had recovered from jaundice. They had started feeding. And so I came home, returned satisfied that two babies who would have gone home, who would not have been cared for as was required for them, came just because of the persuasion, just because of the time that I spent there. I was really happy. So these are the very small incidences. For me, it was just half an hour. But maybe for the kids, it was more to do with their health, their life. So these are the incidences that motivate you and keep you going. The government has made arrangements for vehicles. We have ambulances. We have specific ambulances for pregnant ladies. For example, if there's an emergency of delivery of birth, that specific ambulance would go there. And now the conditions are still better. Earlier, there were places where there were no roads. There were bridges, there were no bridges, so the areas would get cut off when excessive monsoon or rainfall would come in. Now that things are a lot better, ambulances can go in, and so we have these government arrangements made. But still, there are people, I would also say that there are some areas which are too far to remote, so those additional efforts have to be taken. Not. I mean, to share my personal experience, it was really not. I was personally very, very sad in my mind that how unfortunate is it that I'm telling her that your kids will be taken care of, but her family members were refusing. She was refusing. But then I started looking more, and then I found out that there was this fear. She's never been exposed to that area. She feels that the area is so far away. She feels she won't be taken care of. So these were the things that were going on in her mind. And when I reassured her, when I told her that you will be taken care of and everything will be taken care of and your kids will live a better life, and because the initial period, the initial care that is given to these preterm babies matters so much for their overall health all their lives. So I guess I could see through the psychology of why she was refusing. And now I know that if we have to work, we just don't have to arrange ambulances. We also need to create awareness among women and people about the good practices. So just carrying forward from this incident, the brother-in-law of the lady was there. And he told me one thing. He said, "Madam, you will go away, but I need to let go of my daily wage to come to see my sister-in-law there, and I can't do that." So, something is that people are underprivileged, people are very less privileged than you, but they continue to live their lives with their resource constraints. One takeaway for me was that whatever condition I am facing, Let's understand there's somebody else also there who is facing that or is in a situation worse than that. So for mentally, you should feel that you're not the only person. We get cornered because we feel that we are the only person in the world who's facing this. But let's understand there can be other people. There are other people who have worse circumstances, but who continue to live, who continue to persevere, and continue working hard in their lives. So, mentally don't corner yourself ever. Second thing that I have learned in my own life, and I would go a little back when I was preparing or when I was in school, I had these situations when I felt blacked out. I felt like I cannot go further. I don't know what to do. But then as I had written in my post as well recently, that I opened up to my friends. I told them without fearing that they'll judge me. And thankfully, I had friends who did not judge me for what I was going through. They told me what they felt was right. And sometimes one thing that they said was completely changed my perspective about it. So I guess you should be talking about what you're facing. Don't corner yourself. Life is too precious to be, to be sad and to be wasted and being sad and worried. But yes, accept that life could take you through bad times, but you just have to persevere and good days will come. I'll give you a perspective from two instances. So while I was preparing, while I was young, there was this whole issue about one set of my family members were like, oh, you should be learning cooking, you should be learning how to, you should be knowing how to do things, keep things in order, organize the home, help your mother out, and things like that. So there was this whole issue. So you come to know that since being a girl, you would be tagged with having certain qualities and also doing some kind of particular work in your family or outside. Thankfully, my mother and my father were like, it's okay if you don't know cooking, it's okay if you don't spend time with it. I think I was lucky. But there are a lot of women, there are a lot of girls who are not lucky as that, who are encouraged to marry early, who are encouraged to take up jobs, for example. There are some cliche jobs like in India, for example, we have this job of a teacher, a job of a professor, a nurse, or a receptionist, a front desk office worker. These are the jobs which are encouraged for women. But jobs like being in the army, being in the civil service, being in the police, or something like doing a corporate job, which is a very high pressure. Things are changing now, but I'm more referring to the rural part of the country. There, these things are still a taboo. So we have this gender bias a little bit existing. But I personally feel that the first step towards working against this, working for a world which is equal, working for a world which gives women equal opportunity, the first step towards is recognizing that something is wrong. And once we start recognizing, we can think about ways to go further. Second instance that I'll quote is the very day that my sir called at 10 at night and I was there on field, there were some doctors who advised me. They said, you go home, ma'am. You don't have to come all the way 50 kilometers and you'll be late at night. That was one thing which I felt that they were saying because I was a woman officer. I guess if there was a male officer, they would not have said that, ma'am, you should go home. But then I said that, no, sir, I have to come. I need to see how it's done and I don't have any issues in coming. So, you have these subtle instances that happen. But as we have been trained in the academy, as I have had interactions with my mentors at the academy, my teachers have told me that, this will come in. There will be people who will feel that you won't be enough. You can't put in that amount of effort. You can't be that efficient. But it's only by your performance that you will show them that you are equally capable. So those are the battles that we keep fighting. It's since it's passion, it's personal. So I will say that you should be doing this. You should be studying for this exam. But one thing that I'll say that finding the goal in your life, having that passion for doing something is really important. When you have a goal, when you have decided that you'll be going into this field or you'll be pursuing this, your entire perspective changes. Your entire energies could be concentrated, flow to that one thing. So explore your life, read books, talk to people, go out, travel, find out what you like, find out what your passion is, and then head straight in that area. Yeah, right. We don't take it as a very specific kind of a thing of a problem in the job. I guess every job, for that matter, has its own positives, negatives, some gray areas, things like that. So I would personally take it as that, as a part of the job. That's one. Second thing is that when it comes to tackling, the politicians, so specifically to speak, are elected representatives, and they are the ones who have the support of the backing of the people. So if there is some good input that they're giving, there's some prioritizing that they're doing, which is possible within the four corners of the law, I would say we could go forward with it. But third thing that I have in my mind is that ultimately the quality or the virtue of integrity is most important, and so I would be carrying that forward in all that I do. And so personally, I don't have much of a field experience right now, as you know it, but my perspective is that you need to get things done. Work shouldn't be stopping, and we will somehow maneuver. We will learn to communicate, to persuade, to negotiate, and I guess that's how we'll keep going forward in the system. That's so true. I mean, what you said with the social media thing, that we are virtually connected to thousands and millions of people, but of course we can't go on and share with them our personal stories or talk to them face to face. So these issues are there, and I guess what I realized early on, that there are people who might also want to pull you down. That's very unfortunate, but that is sort of true. There are people who might feel that you shouldn't be going forward with this, or might be skeptical, overly cynical about what you're going about. So when you've decided a goal, what I did was that I would be just completely filling myself and my environment with positivity. Anybody who pulls me down, anybody who tells me I can't do it, anybody who tells me that who's cynical about it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk to you right now. I'll get back to you after the result. So that's what I told myself, and so I really cut myself off from those people, those situations, and I sort of concentrated on the positives of my life. So just find your group of your friends, find your circle. People might make fun of you. You might be called too individualistic. You might be called a bit selfish sometimes. But if you have your close circle of friends, they know what you're doing. You will get through. So be very wise while you choose your company, and just sort of be yourself, and focus more on what you have thought of achieving, the goal in your life. Prioritize that over things. So during my preparation, of course, reading books was not on the agenda because doing that early, so you'd rather avoid doing it. But then I was into yoga. My mother's a yoga teacher, so I learned yoga from her, and I went to that as well. If I don't get to go out for a morning walk because of rain, I'd rather do yoga at home. That's one. Second thing was meditation. I really liked spending about half an hour to 15-20 minutes every day, just sitting, breathing, feeling your breath, not going through your thoughts and cutting off yourself, just closing your eyes. So yes, meditation was also something which I did. And third was listening to songs, my favorite set of songs and tunes which motivated me, which sort of boosted me up when I was sad and down. So these three things I kept doing. Yeah, so I when I'm at work, I'm totally into it. I would not get distracted by anything. But when I'm home at about 6, and if I don't have anything to study or anything, if I don't have to go through any schemes, laws, anything, I do some sketching. I listen to a lot of songs. I talk to my parents. I video call my friends. So I take out about 2, 3, 4 hours, 2, 3 hours at least in the day doing this. And what I've realized is that those 2, 3 hours are my pack of energy for the next day. If I don't do that, I would feel sleepy. I would feel very tired at work. So I have realized that the life part of it, it's just saying work-life balance is really important, and you need to take out time for yourself and your family. That is something which keeps me charged and boosted. Okay, so see, first feeling is that you're overwhelmed. I get that, we all are. There are situations where there's less time, but you have to achieve more. But also understand that it's not only with you. All of the people who will be given the exam this year will be facing with the same thoughts. So don't corner yourself, don't get overwhelmed, don't get under pressure. What you are facing, so many of us are. Second thing is that, manage your time really well. Make your proper routine. Set out the papers that you have, see what are the subjects, see what are the past year questions that are being asked, see what work you've already done and build on it. Make a proper routine and see the subjects which you are interested in, which you find difficult. Prioritize the one which you feel difficult so that you can give more time to it. And as far as note taking is concerned, keep your reference books handy and making a plan and follow it, prioritize it, use your time well. As far as UPSC specifically is concerned, newspapers are very important for the exam. So I used to read the editorials of the newspapers and I used to make my own notes out of it. That you'll be able to do once you are through the syllabus and the past year papers. That way you know the demand of the exam. So find out what it is, keep reading the newspaper, keep noting down important perspectives, that important arguments that come in the newspaper, and that's the way to go. Oh yeah, so a lot of changes occur. Until now you are a student, you're busy studying with books and everything. Now you've got a job. Now you realize the importance of weekends. Now you realize that you have to go to work and you have to be on field, you have to provide leadership. So a lot of things have changed. My perspective about life has changed. My routine has changed. But the best part about it is that what I had in my mind that I would be doing, I am now practically doing it. So I just go in and talk to people. I give my best. I try to learn as much as I can so that I can be good at the job. And also it's really good to inspire people. It's really good that I get to interact with so many people. Sometimes they know me, sometimes they don't, but then when I talk to them and the interaction part of it, I guess, is the best with this job. Yeah, so it's very personal, I guess. But for me, it was like if I enter into conversations, if I talk to people, I'd rather get distracted. I'd rather go on watching YouTube instead of WhatsApping my friend my notes. So I personally thought that I should be closing on that. I closed my WhatsApp account. I still till date don't have a Facebook account. All that are there are not mine. They're just by some people who are posting my notes and everything. I opened an Instagram account after my selection. So that's pretty much it. I personally felt that I'd be distracted or I won't be able to devote enough time to my preparation. So that's why I did it.